Got some updates on Owen Freeman, including an expected destination for Owen Freeman at this point. So we did a breakdown of Owen entering the portal a couple days ago. He is, for my money, the best big that has entered the portal. Stud that you could expect some big time things from in the coming years. And three schools prioritized Owen Freeman very early: Michigan, Auburn, and Creighton. He has visited Creighton this week. That is the first visit that he has taken since the season ended. He was expected to set up visits to Auburn and Michigan. However, per some updates per Joe Tipton, shout out to Tipton Edits, the expectation as of this moment is that Owen Freeman will commit to Creighton and that his first visit could be his last visit at Creighton. The report today that I've heard is that there's a $2 million asking price for Owen Freeman and that Michigan and Auburn, Dusty May and Bruce Pearl, are interested, but not at that price point. Fair response. Creighton presumably must be interested at that price point. What do you make of all of this, Riley?
Yeah, I would be wary I don't know, I'm wary of not spending what you need if he's your guy, you know what I'm saying? Like, because the market only is going to balloon more after this, probably. Like, this will probably set the market. You're going to have to pay up to get a quality starting center. That being said, like, I'm a big Owen Freeman fan. I really like the fit at Creighton. Just to give you a fair warning, Greg, he might be my Maxime Reynaud this year.
Ooh, okay.
He might be the guy who I swear is a stud and swear is really good, even if he has some limitations, who I'm going to be standing as like a first team all conference guy just because the offensive skill set is so good. I feel like he's so smooth the way he moves. His footwork's great, knows where to be with like when he's on the screen and roll, pick and pop. Like, I think it's really valuable to just have good offensive awareness and know where you're supposed to be on the court for optimal spacing. I think he does that really well. I know he didn't make a ton of threes this year, but I think his form looks okay. So he's someone that, especially at a Creighton program that has had no shortage of successful bigs over the past years, and they've had no shortage of guys who are like strictly offense. In my opinion, this is like Greg McDermott getting back to his roots. It's like, oh, we had caught for the last 5 years. It was fun doing the whole defense thing and having like a top 40 defense, but guess what? We're bringing Owen Freeman back. We're getting these shots up now. We're gonna be playing up tempo. We're gonna have like shooting all around him. Like, pairing him next to Jackson McAndrew, I think is gonna be a ton of fun from an offensive perspective if he does end up landing there. Again, there will be some defensive concerns, but even on that side of the ball, like, I know, Greg, like, we had talked about Owen before, and you said that's why, maybe what would limit him from being a starting center on like a true national title contender or like a top 10, top 15 type team is some defensive concerns, but he has, at least he has a decent block rate. 7+% block rate on the year. But definitely the offense is the selling point here that if he does end up in Omaha, I think would be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think this is the logical conclusion for all parties involved. And I think I've kind of been all over the place in how I've talked about Owen Freeman. So I'm going to try my best to thread the needle on, my belief in his game and what he could be outside of Iowa, mixed with my own personal thoughts on him as a player and some things I like and don't like. I think he's the best big in the portal. Right now, maybe that could change. I think just production wise, what are you paying for? What are you getting? What's his ceiling, future, all that. This is a guy that I think should be playing in the NBA at some point, that has been a stud in a fun offensive system that doesn't prioritize defense at all. He's shown flashes of defense. I buy him as a legitimate rim protector. I just think Fran McCaffrey doesn't care about it at all. So if you have a nice block rate in the Iowa system, look out. He could be really, really good taking the Kalkbrenner role. Um, Good for Owen Freeman if he's getting $2 million. That's a tip of the cap. You guys in your camp handled this flawlessly. You entered quickly. You made the biggest schools prioritize you, and you made the biggest schools pay up for you. So I am pro players go get the bag whenever you can. I love this for Owen Freeman if it's the outcome. If my head coach Dusty May had a chance to get Owen Freeman and said that's too much money, I applaud you, Dusty May. If that's what Bruce Pearl and Auburn are doing, I applaud you, Bruce Pearl and Auburn. Here's my issue with Owen Freeman, which I've talked about in other videos. There is risk involved here because one of the riskiest archetypes in the portal, as last year showed us, are the guys that come with a $2 million asking price that don't want to play college basketball. And I think that is what Owen Freeman is. I don't care how good he is. This guy shut it down in the middle of the season, in the middle of Fran's last season, where Fran is very clearly playing for his job. Other guys on this team played through injury, and Owen Freeman said, I'm good. Now, I don't blame him for that. He got surgery, he was hurt, but he played through the injury for a little and then was like, I'm good. There were rumors that his camp wanted him to opt out of the season before last season. So you've got a camp that's advising this kid solely on go make as much money as you can. You know where you can make a lot of money, Riley? The NBA. Nothing is going to stop Owen Freeman from getting to Creighton or wherever his school is, getting to December and saying, you know what? I should probably protect my draft stock. Did the 2 million already cash? Is that in the bank account? Because I think I got a shoulder injury right now. I'm not saying that's going to happen. It's a little conspiracy GE, but I made this comp before offline. There's a lot of just like Dickinson-y elements to this for me of like there's a lot of chaos to this person, this camp. He's a great player. He's not a good enough player, I don't think, to go to Creighton and like single-handedly win them a bunch of things.
Hmm.
Like you're gonna have to get some good guards, and I don't know how much money Creighton has to spend here beyond $2 million. So if he plays the full season, it's a great get for Creighton. I am happy that my program's not spending $2 million on a guy with that type of risk.
Is it just the earrings that make you think he's a little Dickinson-y?
No, it's the press conference where they beat Indiana, and then afterwards he said, "Hey, I was the only freshman of the year last year, by the way," and walked off as if like throwing a dagger at Mackenzie Mbako meant something. Like I just that everything about the way Owen Freeman appears to be wired with his camp, with his personnel, with all this is not something I would spend $2 million for.
Some of this, okay, because it does sound a little conspiracy GE, but I don't know, like, where do you, because he played, wasn't he like a three-star kid who played at some public school in Illinois? I think he's from Illinois, isn't he?
Let me look that up real quick. I don't know where he's from originally.
Like, I know he was a relative unknown coming out of high school and everything.
So the
Where,
thing was, he wasn't guaranteed to come back because he kind of splashed onto the scene as a freshman, was
yeah,
on mock drafts coming into the sophomore year. He's from Moline, Illinois. But I think, yeah, I think the
I,
fact he came back sort of to cement, am I a lottery pick? And then just midway through the year was like, shut it down, shut it down. I'd be scared that that's going to happen again. When there's an established precedent here of this kid and his advisors are about the bag, whether it's at the NBA or another destination, he could shut it down at Creighton and then say, "Hey, I want 4 million my senior year." You
yeah,
know?
I get it. I think I'm just kind of like, man, did this dude going from obscurity from Moline, Illinois to fringe NBA prospect, did it just go to his head? And now he's like, all right, everybody's got to pay me.
Which like he's worth that amount of money. I don't think it's crazy that like a
Hmm.
school wants to pay a player this good $2 million. It just
Hmm.
I think you've got to acknowledge there's a lot of risk that comes with this. It is not just you're getting a guy that loves college basketball and wants to be here. And if it
Yeah.
works out, I'll give Greg McDermott a bunch of credit because he probably just landed an All-American center. And I don't think there is a better Ryan Kalkbrenner replacement than this. Crushed it. But you're gonna have to get some good guards. Hopefully, you got the money for that, and you got to make sure that Owen Freeman really wants to do this. If he does, it's a great get.
It is March, and that means that March Madness is upon us. And if you are looking for a place to play, Underdog Fantasy has you covered. Sign up and deposit using code SLEEPERS, that's code SLEEPERS, to receive up to $1,000 in bonus credit plus a free pick. Head over to Underdog Fantasy today and use promo code SLEEPERS to take advantage of this amazing offer.